Question 1. Got a nice functions question here. We're going to get 4 marks out of these 6 here. Let's do those 4 marks first of all. First of all, we've got to put the 5 in. Don't try and find out what g of x is. Just find out what g of 5 is. That's putting the 5 in here, so I've got 15 over 5 take away 3. So 15 over 2, 7.5 there. That's what g of 5 is. But I need to do g of 5. So I now need to repeat the process again. So I've got 2 lots of 15 over 2 plus 5 over 15 over 2 minus 3. Just tap that in the calculator to get 40 over 9, and you've got your first 2 marks. I'm also going to jump down to part C here, because we're always very good at finding out inverse functions as well, aren't we? So to find out an inverse function, you set it equal to y, you switch the letters over, and you now rearrange to try and make x the subject of the equation. So multiplying this up here, and then what I need to do is drag all the y's over to one side here. So I take these 2 y's and I'm going to add the 3 x's. I factorise out here and then divide. So y equals 5 plus 3x over x minus 2. Now, the issue at the end there, we've not actually presented it how we should. We need to say that the inverse function, so the inverse, g inverse of x, is equal to 3x plus 5 over x minus 2. Right, so there we've got 4 of the 6 marks. How are we going to get the other ones? Well, the range here. We've got the range. Just trying to think of the range of this. Well, one thing we could do is we could stick 5 in. We've already done that. We've found out that when you put 5 in, you got 7.5. And so I think most people are going to write this. So g of x is less than 7.5. Then they might think about it a bit more and notice you've got an or equal to sign there, so they'll put that. But what they won't realise is that this graph here, with its asymptote here at 3 because of that, actually looks like this. And this part of the graph here is getting closer and closer to 2. So there's a lower bound here that g of x is greater than 2. Not equal to, because it never quite reaches that. How you're supposed to see that on one part B, I'm not quite sure. A nice way of thinking about this is, well, what would happen if you put 1,000 in here? We'd get sort of like 2005 divided by 997. And really, that's really close to 2. That's what we're showing here. That is only worth the 1 mark. But it's actually the same down here for the domain. The domain is that x should be between those 2 values. Now I think there's going to be a follow-through mark here that no matter what you put there, as long as you put it down here, then you'd get a follow-through mark for the domain there. So 4 out of 6 would be a good answer there. 5 out of 6 would be brilliant. I doubt anyone's got 6 out of 6.